Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about craft beer and video games. I'm joined this episode by Lucy.
Hi.
And Ben!
Hi.
Sounds so fun.
Yeah, I was like, welcome. Well, that was episode 335. Apparently, no one wants to be here anymore. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for being able to join us on this record. I know you've got a busy time.
Yes, absolutely. Lots of work to do, so I had to duck out for the chat. I did catch a little bit of Gordian Quest chat as well whilst I was working away. But I can't stay away. I need a beer. I want to hang out with you guys and chat shit. So yeah,
you should be glad you didn't catch the neon white chat, because otherwise you would have spent money. Like, I tried to mid-episode, but Steam was angry because apparently I used the wrong PayPal account, and that PayPal account is in Canada, so you're not allowed buying it.
That makes sense.
I mean, to be honest, it's better because I would have been ruined by weird exchange rate and foreign tax. Banks would screw me, but it was just kind of like, really, just let me buy the game. It's fine.
It should, your Steam account should be able to just have multiple regions, and like everything's like, we know where you are. Do you want us to know where you are? Because we already know where you are.
Yeah,
we just need to know whether it's okay if you let us know where you are.
So everyone
everywhere wants where you are.
Tax you. That's what it is.
It's
how much can we tax you?
Yep. It's also because of foreign exchange rates. And purchasing power, like, games are cheaper in like Eastern Europe, for example, and they won't let if you could buy the Polish version of, well, maybe not Polish because they're in EU, but you know what I mean, like Bulgarian or something.
Turkish.
Yeah. You would just, it would be like half price on the right day of the week. But it's like, I'm pretty sure me paying
and then, like,
Canadian
South
dollars.
America as well. I think in South America games can be very cheap or very expensive, just depending.
Like Brazil is one of those. You always see it kind of come up, and people in Brazil are like, "Why is the Xbox £4 billion?"
Yeah, like the Brazilian
equivalent dollars or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it makes it ridiculous.
I think was it Xbox who recently opened like a factory there or something like that, but I think they've certainly spread to like South America.
Yes.
But
yeah, I think they have.
But I think well, they're more in South America now than before or whatever. But yeah, I know, especially consoles are like prohibitively expensive in like South America, which sucks. But yeah, like their homebrew kind of stuff, and like, it's fascinating. Just watch like anything to do like the video game scenes in like South America and stuff like that. I think Drew Scanlon's what was the name of his cloth map, his documentaries where he went to like Eastern Europe, and I think he went to like Konoval as well, and like South America, just like charting video games like around the world and stuff like that. There was only a few episodes, but yeah, really fascinating.
Nice.
Speaking of fascinating, Ben, earlier, this is the worst segue ever. Ben, earlier you said you couldn't stay away because you wanted to crack a beer.
Oh,
well, do it.
All right, I will.
Hurry up.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink Polly's. It's called the Lakehouse. It's an IPA. It's 6.1%. What do Polly say about it? Not very much, because they've decided they don't want to say very much about the beers. That's it, like 6.1%. That's all of the text. India Pale Ale, Brew 1, and Citra are the hops.
Oh.
That's it.
Did my last can say the hops? Am I just blind?
It's a lovely
Lakehouse.
It's a lovely.
Where are the hops listed, Ben? On your can?
Did you just drink a Polly's? Did you?
Yeah.
Cascade. Okay, Cascade was in.
Just underneath
episode.
where it says Big Polly's, it tells you the style and then the hops just before all of the allergens and addresses and those kinds of things. It's very small. It's very easy to miss. Polly's do better.
Lucy described I've already forgot, what was it called again?
Island in the Sun.
As the best West Coast IPA she's had in a long time.
Wow.
So,
okay.
given that you frequent places which sell polys, you should keep an eye out for Island in the Sun. Keep an island in the sun out.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Shut up, Aadil.
I was going to say, yeah, my pun didn't work either. I was going to say Dolly Parton would be proud, but that's Islands in the Stream. So.
That's exactly what I was just thinking of. I was going to say exactly like, no, it's definitely Islands in the Stream. It's fine.
Yeah.
The Bee Gees turning in their graves.
So we're all batting 1,000.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if that's the polys that I have downstairs, Ben, but they do so many. It probably
Absolutely.
isn't.
Yeah.
The odds are.
Lucy, what's your second beer? Sorry, your beer of this episode.
Second of the night, first episode. Yeah. Is good save. Is one from Brew York. It's the Mangolorian. What's with them and the
Star Wars?
Star Wars craze.
Yeah, they love the Star Wars things. Yeah.
I think that might have been one of the ones that Kimberly had a few weeks ago on her here are all the Star Wars beers I have.
Yeah.
Not one that she had, but the ones that she had in her possession.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, this is I don't usually, as I've said, go for their lighter styles. Brew York. I much prefer their stouts and stuff. But this one seemed intriguing enough. It's a mango and lime milkshake IPA. 6%. They have the nice little diagram which tells you what kind of taste it's gonna have.
The web.
Yes, the web.
The Brew York web.
Yeah, it's going more towards the fruity and sweet rather than the malty.
Okay. Given the name, not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it was the Mangolorian.
No, that sounds good.
Mangled Orion? It would probably be Mangled Orion. It's this Greek tragedy beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
The tragedy is mangled beer.
This also has oats in it. It's got lactose in it. Mango, lime, hops, vanilla, yeast, water, obviously. It says, "May the 4th be with you." The Mangolorian, a super juicy mango and lime milkshake IPA featuring galaxy hops from a land far, far away, in brackets, Australia, and Nelson Sauvin from New Zealand. Finished with lashings of vanilla for a creamy and smooth finish. Okay, well, I'm usually dubious about milkshake IPAs. Some of them are good, most of them are bad. So let's see.
Well, you
the other beer they brewed. So usually every year they do 2 beers for May 4th. Same as like More used to do, and a few other kind of breweries lean into the May 4th kind of thing. And they did the Obi-Wan Cannoli, which was one of the beers at the Bristol Craft Beer Festival. Wasn't that keen on that one. So it'd be really interesting to see what you take from this one, with it being that much lighter and from Brew York. Yeah, I want to know what love is to start with, but
don't we all?
what the kind of almost the 2 offerings that they put out for May 4th.
While Lucian specs that, I'm gonna tell you that I'm having another of the Garden Brewery's Restore Our Earth series. This is with Totenhopfen, which I believe is... Oh, I didn't bring... So, it's really annoying. Some of the tins have just a list of countries, or breweries, and some of them have the country they're from. Oh, this is Luxembourg, I'm pretty sure. Totenhopfen. But the tin, neither of these tins have the full, I'm guessing for, like, space reasons, they have, like, we can say, brewery, bracket, country, bracket, because we haven't used that space somewhere else, and these ones they haven't. But the Totenhopfen is, their cause is the spiky little goldcrest is Europe's smallest bird at just 4 to 8 grams and needs to eat its own weight in food daily. Switzerland is the southern tip of its range. Also, yeah, I think it was Luxembourg. Maybe I'm misremembering.
So it needs to eat 1 nut per day.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine having such a metabolism that you had to eat your entire? Douche.
I have to consume my own weight in pizza a day.
Fair enough. So it's a. I forgot to tell you what it was, which is a cherry and coconut imperial stout, deep, rich, and complex, 7%. So I'd say kind of light for an imperial stout, but its malts are pale ale Munich Carafa Type 1, Carafa Special Type 3, Cara Munich Type 1, Cara Munich Type 3, oat flakes, hops flex, yeast AY4, and the adjuncts are sweet cherry, cocoa powder, and coconut extract. So I picked this one because it kind of felt like it could be similar to the beer I had last episode, but with a much more sort of fruity bend versus a chocolatey bend. It's very similar malt profile. This one's a bit boozier, and it's a stout, not a porter, but dark beer, very plethora of malts.
Nice.
Yep. So I'm gonna pour this, and then Ben, let's go back to you. How's your beer?
Yeah, I really like the nose on this one. It is a solid block of color, as a lot of poly beers are. It's sort of a very pale kind of. It almost comes across in color on the screen as it does to me as well. It's very, very close. It's kind of got that sort of when you cut into a mango, it's that kind of color to it. It smells very nice, fruity, a little bit sweet. Touch dank as well on the nose, actually. Only a little though, really, really light. It's incredibly smooth. Ooh, I really like that flavour. There is mango in there, definitely, in the flavour. And it does have a bit more of a piney finish to it. But there's something else just in there. Ooh, what's that? There's almost like a floral note in there that kind of takes you from that slightly sweeter fruit, that slightly sweeter mango, into those pinier, bitter notes towards the end. But it's, we talk sort of about a slightly more perfumed floral note. It's got that kind of very dry kind of feel to it, where you're kind of a bit like, someone sprayed perfume like right next to me, and I'm kind of a bit like, a little bit alcohol-y, a little bit kind of trying to be maybe not fruity.
I know that well when some weird woman just walks into the gym just stinking of perfume and just thinking, this is not the place, love. Usually also caked in makeup. It's just like, have to move over to another machine so I don't choke on the smell.
Depends what she's at the gym for, doesn't it, Lucy? Really?
Well, true. We all have our reasons to do that. But soliciting shouldn't be one of them. But is it that strong, or
it's not that strong? It's not that strong. It's lighter than that, and it flows into the piney bitterness very nicely. But it kind of sits above the bitterness, which I wouldn't expect it to do for the people using that kind of perfume. The bitterness is always there for them. But it does. It sits just above it. So the mango and that sweeter
start. They want the mango.
Yeah, it disappears quite quickly. Goes into this big floral note. The pininess kind of comes in, but that kind of it's I say floral, but it's more like potpourri kind of flavor, like a mix of kind of floral elements, which is very hard to sort of go, oh, it's this. It's like lilac, or it's lavender, or it's something like this. I can't pick out exactly what that floral note is. It's kind of a bit of a mix of stuff, but it flows very well through the beer, and it's not too overpowering, and it's very smooth, so it's a very quick to drink beer.
Very nice, as they all are usually.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Good
nice
stuff.
That's all from me.
Mine, same solid block of colour. Bit darker than yours, I think, Ben. More of an orangey colour.
Yes.
Certainly smells. It's not overpowering smell of lime. It's just slight. It even smells like a bit of like a a mojito, I guess. It sounds like it's got like a bit of mint in there almost. Getting a little bit of mango, not much, mostly lime, but it's not as overpowering as you'd think. It's more subtle. No head to it at all.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It almost
I
looks
don't
like
think there was
juice.
any head when it poured. I think there might have been a little bit, but not much. It started off okay. It's not bad. It's if you like. It's too sweet for me. I think that's where the strange inflection in my humming and arming went. I think it's too sweet because at first it's like, okay, there's a lot of fruit on here. You're definitely getting the lime, getting a bit of mango, getting a lot of vanilla, like maybe even too much. I think that's where the sweetness is coming from. Yeah, because at first it's like, oh, this is okay. Immediately you have that, the mouthfeel from the oats and the lactose. I think the lactose as well is what it's adding to the sweetness. And it's like, oh, okay. A lot of fruit, a lot of lime, but not too much. There's not too much of any one fruit in between the lime and the mango. I think those balance well. I think it's the vanilla and the lactose they need to be taken down a notch or two because I think it's too sweet for my palate. I think if you're looking for a milkshake IPA, this is probably what you want. It's not a bad one of those. It's too sweet for me, but it's not overwhelmingly sweet where I think it's sickly and put everybody off. It's just a bit too sweet for me. I think, I think there is enjoyment to be had in this beer. Coming off the back of the last beer, which was very bitter, and going to this, completely the opposite direction, it's not only jarring, it's just even more stark contrast. I don't like very sweet beers.
Yeah.
I wonder if when your palate adjusts a little more to it, maybe there'll be hopefully there'll be some sort of hoppier notes that pull through that sort of maybe fight back that bit of that sweetness.
Perhaps because even just now, it's like I'm picking more up on those mango notes, and it's like the fruits. I mean, especially not the lime, and not adding to that sweetness. I think it's the other adjuncts that are. Whereas the fruitiness of it is quite nice. It's it's got a nice bit of body, but it's not heavy, it's not sickly, it's still quite refreshing. So yeah, it's nice. It's not as bad as it's not as bad as it could be, basically. I think it's all right. It's not one that I'd pick up again, possibly, because it's not my style. But if I was to, if someone put a gun to my head and say, "You better drink a milkshake IPA now," I wouldn't mind going towards this one.
Right.
Okay.
It's decent. Yeah.
Sweet.
I think it's well balanced with the fruit, just a little less so with everything else.
Yeah. On my side, this poured like this, like a flat Coke. It is dark. I would say a bit browner than Coke. Coke has a bit of a reddish hue in the middle, and you're getting none of that here. I am getting the coconut off the nose. I really like coconut. I'm not actually getting the cherry, which I thought might happen. Which I'm kind of glad because cherry can kind of.
Hate cherry.
I don't mind. I don't really like the smell of it as much. Like when it's on a nose, it tends to feel artificial, but if it's in a taste, I don't mind as much.
No, I'm the opposite.
So I'm kind of glad that the coconut also has a bit of a body to it on the nose. It doesn't smell like a Bounty bar. So there's a bit of carbonation there. Ooh, is there oat in this? Yeah. It's an oaty day.
Everyone's got oats, yeah.
I think everyone's realized that, like, especially oat flakes are just a good way of giving thickness and mouthfeel.
Yeah. Is it cheap, do you think?
I mean,
Yeah.
the flakes definitely, right? Like,
I mean,
that's probably the
the
chaff off of
a
some
wee
useful
bit
use of oat, right?
Yes. I
probably
mean,
just poured it
this has
out
got
of
oats in as
cereal.
well. So
Yeah, true.
Um, I'm really glad I said cola. Just because it's got. So it's I cannot tell this is 7%. Even with the 7% and the oat flakes, just has a very, very similar mouthfeel to this 5.5% porter I had before tonight, which you guys don't know about because this is episode 335.
You mean
But
everyone listens to every
yeah,
podcast?
and they remember on Monday what I drank on Friday because I listened to them immediately.
And they don't drink over the weekend, so they can't possibly.
But yeah, it's got a bit of, and now I'm noticing it does have a bit more richness and thickness in the mouthfeel. The light carbonation kind of fights against that. It's kind of hard to tell just how kind of non-thin the liquid is because there's also no bubbles. They kind of work together. That makes sense. But it's you get the coconut kind of on the finish, but in the foretaste, it's just like, oh yes, this is a good solid stout. It's got some light chocolate notes, and the cherry kind of comes in right near the beginning of the finish, in the same way that the slight sort of cherry cough syrupy taste you get on a cola. That lighten it, but you know how unless not cherry Coke, but Coke does have a bit of that sort of sweet berry lightness right on the finish. It's the same type of taste, and it's very in the same strength, right? Like if you ask people to describe what's in a cola, they don't immediately say something like cherry, but there is that cherry-like taste if you sort of pay attention. It's the same level, which I'm really glad for something that's called a cherry and coconut imperial stout that it's not like cherry. It's there. It's probably more pronounced than I'm describing Coke, but it still feels very much like it's light. The coconut's kind of lingering on the top. It's there on the nose. It's a bit there on the fore, but everything else kind of outweighs it by the finish. And the cherry kind of shows up right before the finish, and then the finish is just light chocolatey malts. No, it's like the previous beer I had in episode 334. I've already ruined all the immersion. There's almost no roasted notes in this as well. Like there's a bit more of an like a bit more burnt malt in this one than the last one, but really, and they're starting to come through now that I've been talking long enough and had a few sips. But overall, it's quite light. This is also, I think, a great stout to give someone who like is interested in the darker beers, but like is hesitant about like, oh, I don't want that strong burnt or even strong coffee character. This doesn't have that. This is again much more on the chocolatey side, and that coconut is just rounding it out. And what I really like is it's so light that you can't even tell if it's like like proper coconut or coconut flakes because it's such a light thing. It could be either. Like I'm sure it's just what do they call it? The things people bake with the cheap coconut.
Desiccated.
Yeah, that's the one. It could easily be desiccated coconut because it's such a light touch here. It doesn't matter which one it is, which is again, I really like it because the cherry and the coconut, even though they're like top of the label, they're just enhancing and they're just sitting there and they're not overwhelming the beer in a way that I think that like the Milkshake IPA's premise is I'm kind of gonna try and get rid of some of beer taste in favor of being like that's one of the reasons why you don't like Milkshake IPAs, I suspect, right, Lucy? Because they're sort of premised on this is gonna be really fruit and sweet forward, and then kind of a beer, rather than a beer that's kind of fruit and sweet forward. And this feels like exactly that type of thing, where it's like this is a beer and it kind of has some fruity and sweetness, some cherry and coconut notes, but it's never not a stout. I mean, it's not like your full bore stout. I mean, it kind of. It's funny because the cherry and coconut, it's kind of a lie. It's a cherry and coconut imperial stout. It doesn't feel like an imperial stout. It's a little too light on its feet, but it doesn't feel like a cherry and coconut any beer because normally when those things would be super forward. But I like it a lot. Like I think it's a good beer. It's not the beer. It doesn't taste like you would think it would based on it's just its name. But yeah, that's the Totenhopfen and Garden Brewery collab.
Yeah.
Ben.
I think putting most fruits with chocolate is a sin. and should be punished by God.
Do you not like
But-
your country's
I don't like
Terry?
Terry's.
Yeah.
No, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Just don't put fruit with chocolate.
Kim
It's
absolutely
quite
loves.
simple, really.
Kim loves raspberries with chocolate.
I think
Mm.
sometimes it depends. Like, if it's like they have that just like gooey center and it's like fruit in it, that's disgusting.
Oh, that's
If
just
you
poorly
have like
done.
dairy milk, fruit, and nut, that's okay. But if it's
Well,
just
wait,
like
what?
gooey strawberry,
Okay, you just don't like
like-
gooey stuff.
Maybe that's what
Well,
it
oh,
is.
and Terry's chocolate orange. All right, you just don't.
I don't like that either.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think it's sinful anyway. It shouldn't be done. Whether I like some versions of it anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
These two things were not put on Earth to be mixed together.
You should join the
Bad.
Supreme Court of the United States.
I will. Where I hate all kind of mixing.
Yeah. Let's move on to Ben. Have you been? Have you been? Oh no, everything's gone to hell. Like literally, figuratively, and everything in between. Ben, you weren't with us last episode, but you did catch some of our chat about Gordian Quest. But what did we miss your update on? What games have you been playing this past week?
He's only been playing Planet Zoo.
I mean, pretty much. It's like just constantly open on Steam. It's only kind of when a drawing decides that it's starting to chug a little bit, then like, oh, the computer needs a little bit of space. Okay, I'll stop playing.
That's really funny.
He's waiting
otherwise,
for
it's kind of
to breed.
well, exactly. But it's not even running in the background. It's paused most of the time.
You just
Because-
don't ever want to wait for it to load, right? You want to be able to pop in, pop out.
Well, it's easy to pop in, pop out, but and it would be fine if it was running as well at the same time. It's only because the zoos that I've built are now so full of animals.
Oh, I see what you're
that
saying.
It's turned from a hey, build a zoo, put some animals in it, to a oh, your animals are fucking. They're fucking all the time. There's babies. They've matured. There's fights going on because suddenly one of them wants to be an alpha. So the young ones just decided to fight up against the old one.
Supreme Court won't like that either.
Yeah. And it's turned much more into a like a management game.
It's like animal management sim.
Which is kind of what it is. I did buy because it's on sale, the aquatic animals pack, because I'm like, right, okay, what difference can I get from what I have experienced? I haven't used it yet. I've not actually put anything in because I only bought it a couple of days ago. But I've got some penguins ready to go in. Because what zoo doesn't have penguins, right? Every zoo's got penguins.
Indeed.
So it gives it a little bit of an additional kind of dimension to the game. And then I'm sat there thinking, well, what about like I get some pelicans and some like slightly, some more exotic pelicans aren't that exotic, but some exotic birds, different kinds of cranes and all of those kinds of things as well. And I don't know whether that's in the game. I've got some flamingos going on, but I haven't got any kind of other birds. But... No, I don't think
that's
so.
always my favourite part of like the zoo. I just think the ocean's fascinating. Like there's so much crap down there.
I agree.
Fascinating, but also scary as shit.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
It's like, what is down there?
I mean, scuba diving is one of my favorite things to do in the world.
I mean, probably wouldn't do that.
Oh, it's
I don't want
great.
to see them. I love the water. I love swimming, but it's like I don't want to see these.
You want to see them behind glass.
Yes, where they're unlikely to be let loose.
Like an octopus just comes out the top and just chases you through the aquarium, like,
God.
I'm saying you give me food.
Oh, my octopus are so cool. Seeing them move in front of you is madness. It's great. They're such weird things.
They are. They're nuts. How they can just camouflage as well.
Well, and also go like big thing, anywhere. Go like through a tiny bit of coral, and you're like, how did you? What you were? What? It's like, I don't have any bones, sir. I just have a beak. Also, they talk. I don't know if you knew this.
They talk. They talk.
Yes.
Ah, really?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Octopi can do anything, can't they? Or
I mean, to be fair, they have built spaceships and they've come to Earth from
They can predict
from another planet. So that's
World Cup results.
Yeah.
They know. They see into the future.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But no, Planet Zoo doesn't have a Mega Aquarium plugin.
Boo!
That would be good, absolutely. But yeah, I have also played a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw on your
yeah.
on Discord.
Because yes, again, one of those. If the PlayStation's on, because Guardians of the Galaxy is suspended, and Kim is downstairs using I don't know 4OD or iPlayer or whatever, Netflix or something. It constantly on Discord says you're playing this game when I'm absolutely not.
I assumed that you was your new favorite game of all time.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. I've only played a couple of hours of it.
How are you playing this? Was this a PlayStation Plus game? Or?
So yes, but only because I upgraded to the new PlayStation Plus.
Yes,
2, 3, 4? Which
2?
2? Tier 2.
The middle tier, tier 2, extra.
Plus.
I don't know what it's called.
Is it wait? Okay, what's in plus? Is it plus now?
So PS Plus gives you what you
used to get
had previously.
Yeah.
PS Plus gives you now.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of games. It's like a game collection. It's like Game Pass basically. Right. There's a game collection of things. The only difference is it's not day and date first party games.
It's the like first party and some weird third party backlog chunk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which you can't stream. You have to download to your machine to
not
be able
now.
to play. So
now is the plus.
So now we're streaming as well. So I've downloaded currently Guardians of the Galaxy, the Square Enix Guardians of the Galaxy, not the Telltale one, the one that only came out last year, and I Am Dead. So I've got those kind of queued, ready to play.
Right.
There's also, I think, something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the other one. I'm like, oh, I haven't got to give Ubisoft any money. Do I jump into this?
You have a child on the way. You have no time for
this. I mean, absolutely.
I mean, it's also, from what I understand, not worth. If you know Assassin's Creed games, it's not anything extra or special.
So there's
broke Ubisoft. Just like, what are we doing? Have you seen that they're like remaking that remake that they did of like 13 or something?
What?
Like that?
No.
Yes.
I don't have any. I think I've blocked them on the internet. Like I haven't.
Yeah, so have I. And it's just like, yeah, they're a mess over there. They're releasing that Skull and Bones game. I think Prince of Persia is like it's 12 studio now. Like,
they're doing it, and then you're doing a new Mario and Rabbids game as well.
Yes. That might be the only one that has hope because Nintendo will probably get on the call. Miyamoto will just be like, Eve.
I mean,
and they'll just hang up, and that'll be it. And
I mean, I really liked the Rabbids game. That's the last Ubisoft game I was like, I like this.
But there's so on the plus.
They should rebrand it
there's tons.
Jim Ryan's little package, Jim Ryan's medium package, and Jim Ryan's big package.
Or normal PlayStation, the little one is just Jim Ryan's package, and it moves up between people. So the next one is Sean Layden's package, and the last one is Jack Trenton's package.
I got it.
You know, they're like
It's PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 for the PlayStation 4 and 5.
Yeah. That's very good. Just to confuse the shit out of everyone.
I mean, that's what they like doing.
Yeah, they do. There's a healthy amount of games on this middle tier, this collection that they have. I didn't opt into the kind of, hey, you get all of the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, PS3 kind of classics games. You can stream games if you want. That's the top tier.
Yeah, it's plus.
It wouldn't have been a huge amount more. It's a bigger jump between basic and the middle than it is from, say, middle to the top. But obviously, it's that a little bit extra. And I wasn't kind of thinking, I don't really want to play Siphon Filter from the PS1 or any of these kind of additional classics games that they kind of called them. I don't really need to stream stuff because I'm not using the PS4 that much at the moment because everyone else is using the TV. So I don't need it instantly. You know, I'm not like, I want it now. I'm kind of looking through the library going, okay, I'll download this, and then I
Right.
will play it when I have some time.
Which is
So I
not
didn't
very
need to
often,
jump
so
up
you
to the
don't
next
need a
one.
long list as well, right?
Exactly. So I think Guardians of the Galaxy and then I Am Dead will last me for a little bit of
I'm
time.
dead, sorry. What is that? I've never heard of
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
You've
that.
played I Am Dead.
What?
You've talked about it on the podcast before. It is. Let me do a quick
it. Maybe my memory.
Google. Right.
Oh, yeah, you
It
definitely
is.
played this.
Yeah, it's from Annapurna.
Oh,
It's
yeah. I completely forgot that was the name of that game. Yeah, that's I love that game. It's very charming.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
This
From
game.
2 years ago now, though.
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah.
that gives you an excuse.
Played it on Switch. It's very nice. Very relaxing.
Nice. That's exactly what I'm gonna want at some point. Just a nice, relaxing experience to be able to play through. So yeah, I think so far the upgrade that I paid, I think I had to my plus runs out in November, so I've got another roughly 5 or 6 months on it, and
Reminds me, I need to make sure my Switch one is cancelled and not on auto.
Did that last month.
I think I paid an extra 14 or £15 to upgrade to that middle tier for for that additional amount of time. So, if I get 2, 3, 4 games out of it, it's absolutely worth that inclusion. I think it's something like £80 for the year as
versus...
well. Versus 40, I think, or it might be 50 these days for basic.
Yeah.
Still
a chunk of change. But
absolutely, it's a big jump. But then again, the top tier is like 95 or something like that. So it's only like an extra 10 or 15 pounds for the year.
Right?
For the absolutely, and this is why I haven't done it. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It would have been like an extra 3 or 4 quid for me to upgrade. It was like £20 rather than £15 to upgrade to the top tier. But there was nothing on there that really kind of jumps out at me. And I'd assume that I can jump in and pay another 4 quid for the next 3 months if I really want to try that out at some point. But my gaming time is going to become slightly more limited over the next month before baby arrives. So there's not. I don't need more games.
Yeah.
I just need
thinking,
Planet Zoo forever.
What was your motivation to get this rather than, I don't know, plug your money into like Game Pass? Like, is it just convenience of playing on PlayStation, or?
I think it's convenience. Evelyn has a kids pad for PlayStation as well, and she enjoys jumping into games every now and again. So with a bigger library of stuff to be able to pull from, there might be other things that she might jump into. I get Game Pass free roughly every other month through the reward system. So I say every other month. It's probably, I said to someone earlier, actually, it's probably 2 months out of 5, but it's probably more like 3 months out of every 5 months that I get a free sub for that. So if I'd have put if I'd have put 15 quid into Game Pass, that would have only got me a month.
Right.
For Game Pass PC. Well, it wouldn't have got me a month and a little bit. Whereas this gets me the next 5 months on having that full.
And to be honest,
I didn't consider that because I don't know how much Game Pass costs.
I think it's 12, 11 or £12, I think, on PC.
I also it makes total sense because you have the sunk cost already into the PlayStation. Like you were already on PS Plus, so spending 15 quid to get 5 months and trying out what PS Plus does, and then you could be like, oh no, this wasn't worth it. But that's a reasonable for 15 quid to figure out. Or this is, and then maybe it's worth the 40 for the year or whatever.
Yeah. Plus, whereas like Game Pass will have like, I think Guardians is on Game Pass. It won't have like Siphon Filter and all those kind of classics if you ever wanted to dip your toe into.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And Game Pass is great, and most people, I would imagine, have it for the day and date Xbox first party games, and almost the library is kind of secondary. Whereas with PlayStation, the library is kind of it's why it's kind of a mid tier thing, right? It's kind of like, yeah, it's there. We might change it when we're thinking, but we're trying to entice you to this top tier. So if you give you something that's kind of in the middle, but it's
Yeah.
very close in price to the top tier,
Yeah, it's standard
how many
marketing.
people will just go, oh, it's only an extra tenner,
Yep.
maybe 15 quid for a year. I can absolutely afford to do that. That's 1 month of Game Pass. Fine, I'll
Yeah.
up that for the year. Absolutely.
It's the medium fries pricing scheme. Or sorry,
Yeah.
actually, I think in marketing they like it's the medium coffee at Starbucks is the best example of why you either get the small or you get the venti. It's like because the medium is so close to the large that the upsell makes sense, and the small is not quite enough coffee.
Yep. That is
So everyone gets a large, and the large
overview.
is not a good deal milliliter per cent,
yeah.
right? I mean, anyway,
Yes,
I'm
but
glad that
is
you
the-
managed to get the
it is
middle one.
Yes, it's rare that people actually settle for the middle one. So I was like, using the Starbucks model, it's like you just want to go for the actual. But I suppose I don't know. I think if you were playing on PC, because I'll look, I may look into it like when they start catering more to like playing it on PC because there are a few things that I'd be like interested in playing and wouldn't be too bad over the cloud. But
to be
honest, I don't
honest,
know how well their cloud infrastructure works.
So that's part of it, isn't it? Like they bought
Geico, no,
Gaikai?
Geico,
yeah.
And they didn't, apart from then putting it into PlayStation Now, and that being, building that a little bit. They don't seem to have done a huge amount, but I've not used their streaming.
From what I've heard, PlayStation Now got usable in the past couple years, because of that acquisition, and it like even over the PlayStation Network, somehow streaming was like not garbage. But I mean, for me, actually, while we're on the subject of like PlayStation and their like online, their offerings, I was really shocked in their last state of plays or whatever, where it's like, oh, actually, we're just gonna like wait a year, maybe a year and a half, and you'll get a first party game on PC. Like Spider-Man coming to PC, it's like, no, like as soon as I get around to playing Bloodborne and maybe a couple other like things that are just too old to ever really get ported because that window's gone, Windows, I'm gonna sell my PS4 because I don't use it. And like as soon as I stopped my PS Plus, I wasn't, which was just like turning it on, getting the games, maybe starting them and being like, oh, this is all right, but it's only because I owned it, quote unquote. Yes. But I don't miss PS Plus. I would if there was like a solid FPS title, but we could co-op, or like a game I could play with you, Ben. Like that's why almost all my hours on the PS4 has been playing with friends. I say friends, it's you and then people you knew mostly. And then since that stopped being a regular thing for various reasons, mostly because of, well, I'd say half time, half there wasn't a good game for us to make the time to play. I just don't use the damn thing.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. Like,
didn't you give it to 3 different people in 7 different parts? Your PlayStation?
Yeah, my place. I have to remember which friend I gave it to because that was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a case of I'm with you on like I'll just wait for the PC versions. Like none of their first party games interest me that much to the point where it's like I need to play this immediately. Because a lot of them are sequels, and it's like, and Ben, you were saying earlier, a lot of people are enticed by Game Pass because it's like day one Xbox Studios games. It's like that's certainly a draw for me, but I don't care about a lot of their first party games either. And it's like, and I prefer first party Sony games, but a lot of them are all just sequels now, and it's like I've played this before, and it's like I will enjoy Horizon when I get round to it, but I'm happy to
There's
play that on PC and
no
Mhm.
reason to rush.
That's fair.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it'd be nice if they offered some options for PC, because it's a case where I haven't given PlayStation any money for 4 years now.
Mm.
I think the last game I bought on there was Spider-Man. So it's like, if they could entice me to get a subscription on PC, that's money in their pocket.
Well,
Where,
absolutely. Even if it's the middle or top tier, the idea that they then have a like Game Pass does, some kind of program, or even if it's just through a website that which you can do with Game Pass. You can just go to the Xbox Play website and stream games through that.
Yeah.
If you're then paying for the top tier, which has that streaming element to it, but you can get it on your PlayStation, you can get it on a PC, you can get it on some Sony smart TVs or something like that, which Sony pulled away from because they did put PlayStation Now and stuff on TVs natively, and then have pulled away from that. Xbox have just done that with Samsung, haven't they? They've just entered into an agreement with them to put Game Pass on some of their smart TVs.
I didn't know that.
It feels like Sony kind of were like, we're going to do these things. Oh, they didn't work very well. We're going to pull away from that. The Jim Ryan's gone, let's save our money. PS5s, we haven't been able to make enough of them. We're losing a little bit of money. Let's pull back. Let's kind of focus in on a very specific genre of games that we're creating first-party games for. And Xbox have kind of gone, let's do all of the things we can possibly, getting all of those game studios that they've got and making 15,000 different genres of games,
but also through
Game Pass on TVs and things.
Yeah, but the key there is Game Pass, right? Is like not only have they absorbed a bunch of studios and like are starting to churn out different genres but they've made by being like making these deals, which I'm sure are pretty aggressive with these like 1 to 2 year old games that were big, and then new indie games. Be like, well, we'll just pay for these. We'll just use money to pay for these, and then they become the de facto hub for a lot of people. And then when the new game in random genre comes out, even if it's not your cup of tea, you're like, this is the place I want to be. This is the place I hear about games. If I'm like, especially, I think they've realized how the average gamer isn't hardcore, and so. Like getting Games Pass and just getting a stream of games in all kinds of genres that I can just be like, no, that one, I'll try it. No, I didn't like it, that one. And then it turns out I like the genre. And then some first party studio comes out with an RTS, and they've developed an RTS fan by giving them random, like just flooding people with access to genres. And then when their game comes out, it's like, oh, Microsoft, I trust them. It's an RTS. I'll stay on Game Pass.
Yeah, I've noticed like a lot of the games, and it's not even like it's day and date with, okay, you're getting it free on Game Pass and it's also on PlayStation. It's a case where like there's several months in between the PlayStation release where it's like, okay, Tunic only just came out, or some of these games that were like in the zeitgeist and people actually care about playing the game in the moment. I mean, that used to be like the early PlayStation 4 generation when they were very much into, showcasing indies, and it's like, this will come to Xbox either never or in 7 years. And like, it just feels like that. But I mean, for better or worse, probably worse overall. Game Pass has like completely changed my relationship to games. It's like, I don't want to buy games anymore. And it's
mean, if you had
be rewarding creators and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't want to do that anymore.
But they are being rewarded. I guarantee you, they've got deals on downloads and plays and stuff like that. They're not just getting a flat rate. But also, but like, I bought a game today because
did you?
You told you who I trust.
I bought Neon White for what it's worth.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like
I just can buy everything on Steam now. Forget Xbox.
So that's the hilarious part. Is like, thanks to Steam Deck, you're now like in the Steam bubble, but also you could play Xbox your Game Pass games on your Steam Deck as well. So it's not
very good.
Like, oh man, I want my Steam Deck. I know I'll be dead by the time it arrives in the mail. But
they're doubling production now, so you should get yours even sooner than expected.
So do you know how they're managing?
No.
They're shipping the 256 and the 512 TB models with a PCI 3, not PCIe 4 SSD.
But
which they said that here are the test results. There's no performance degradation.
It's negligible, if anything.
Yeah.
So. But you'll be fine.
And the thing is, I was already planning on replacing it by getting a third-party terabyte fast drive. The reason I didn't buy the fancy fast one is because you can just buy a hard drive and install it yourself if you want.
I've got the 64 bog standard one, and I tell you, you play Neon White on that, and your eyes will still bleed. So
yeah,
it's fine.
no, I mean this is the thing, right? So, I said 256 to 512, but I meant the 64 and the 5. Was it 64 or 5? I can't remember 64. The tiers. Yeah, the second tier is 512 or something. But like the first, maybe it's 256 and the big one's 512. But you can get a terabyte drive that fits in the thing that is fast NVMe third party. And so the reason why I bought the low end one was because I can just upgrade that if I feel like I need it, and not pay for the fancier glass and fancier carrying case. Give me the fucking thing.
It's better than a Switch at this point, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Anything that's better than that, it's okay. Yeah, and I just popped in my micro SD card, and it's like plays for days.
Yeah.
So I'm just playing games that are like 100 kilobytes.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing is I feel like that's actually something that will help me get through my backlog of Steam games. Because if I could just let that download, just like you said, put a big micro SD card in, download 15 games, and then I'm on the bus or I'm just in bed, I'll boot up that game, play 5 minutes, and it's way somehow that premise is way less in time intensive feeling than at my desk. All right, I'll try this stupid game.
Yeah, I find it hard to game on PC a lot of the time because it's where I work, and it's like I don't want to be sat here all day. So you'll enjoy. Anyway, fun. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, didn't talk about that one, did I?
It's almost like
more interesting. Much more interesting conversation to actually Guardians of the Galaxy though is Lucy. You've almost you've got two devices which you're not splitting your time between, but which you can kind of have that high-end PC experience with, which gives you your Steam library. You can play Gamespass on it. I don't know whether they've got any web browser integration where you can play itch games and those kinds of things or download them on. But then you've got your playdate, which gives you a very curated set of games, but also allows you to search through something like itch for games that have been developed for that as well. It's interesting that these are the kind of the things that are pulling you or that are taking up your time at the moment. You're like, oh yeah, very curated, very niche, smaller experiences, but really good discoverability, really good kind of user interface, and the way that I can find games and load them onto the system. And it's very open in that sort of sense. And then the Steam Deck being something that would appear at first glance to be a closed kind of system, it's got Steam Big Picture on it. Okay, fine, I can only play my Steam games, but actually it's much more open than that, and I can play Gamespass on it and do the other things on it and those kinds of things. It's just you've been pulled away from console almost completely.
You can definitely put GOG games on your Steam Deck.
Can you?
That's another backlog for me to wrench my way through.
You'll never leave your bed. Apart from to go to the toilet, where you can also just keep playing the game.
Yeah.
Yes, but
I can't wait till the Steam VR goggles on the Steam Deck. Steam Deck VR.
Oh god.
There's just like a camera on the front, a little picture-in-picture of so you can eat your cereal. Oh, who am I kidding? Just drink your Huel on the toilet. Just a nice cycle.
Yep.
God.
That's the metaverse, folks. That's the metaverse.
You went too far with the VR on the toilet. So
it'd be one tube in and one tube out.
Yeah, this is the future Zuckerberg wants for all of us.
He wants us to all eat brisket, so I can get on that. To answer your question, yeah, the playdate is very much a yeah. I'm gonna dip in and out of those games for maybe even 5-10 minutes at a time. I think Cookie Cranker is still on there chugging away. I need to check in with that. But yeah, literally because it's like I need to play this in like direct sunlight. It's definitely a you know, temporary pick up, put down kind of thing. But yeah, the Steam Deck is, as long as it's. I mean, my Switch was that for a long time. I go through phases of which device I want to play on. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'll open up my 3DS and play nothing on, you know, play nothing but that for 3 months or something like that. I'm very strange like that. But,
I don't think that's that strange. I think we all go through waves of stuff, and what's nice is because all these environments are different. It's kind of ironic actually, because I think Xbox and PlayStation have the most like fervent fans who are like, "Oh, mine's the unique one," but they are the most similar environments out of all of the platforms. Like Nintendo does its thing. So like when you enter the Switchiverse, you have a very there's a lot to discover and get used to, and as long as you're vibing with it, there's no reason to leave. And I know people who have had their Switch since day one and are super happy with it, and probably don't see the point of looking at other things. Steam's its own special thing, but that's mostly PC gaming. But you also then realize after a while that, oh wait, but like GOG is there, and Itch, once you discover Itch, you're like, oh, PC gaming, why would I leave PC gaming? There's so much here. And a lot of that stuff ends up trickling out to the other consoles, and some of these are obviously like Switch-oriented games, and I get to have my part of the indie Switchiverse without leaving my PC.
You can wait 15 years and play Portal on your Switch now.
Yeah. So. or you could get Uplay and then want to kill yourself after 5 days.
At least you'd be the first to play Skull and Bones when it releases in 2020.
No, that's just what they write on the autopsy.
I think that's a tax write-off, like Skull and Bones. Isn't it? They made it for the Taiwanese government, and they have to put it out because they got funding.
Have to prove it
completely. They got some funding from someone. They've got to make something somewhere. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd laugh if it's better than Sea of Thieves.
I liked the beta of Sea of Thieves, and then I don't know what happened to that game.
It's huge.
Is it? I mean, it's one of our top. So we like in 2016 or 18 or whatever, we have it on the Out of Lives YouTube channel. Someone made I can't remember. I think it might have been Scott made a like how to play or is Sea of Thieves for you or some like very good solid. You know, we currently at Out of Lives are very bad at clickbaity titles. This was a well-titled thing, and it's our top video consistently on the YouTube dashboard. I'm like, it's still there, buddy. Yeah. And then it's like, wow, we've got more views on that than everything else this month combined this month. And it's just outdated. It's an outdated video that people keep finding, and it's like, well, this is like functionally us telling people the wrong information, but they find it because the algos are.
Well, I think it's probably a very interesting, like, you know, what am I trying to say? Time, you know, point in time to look at because it's like, yeah, that game didn't come out very good, and it's like it's one of those success stories where they stuck with it, like Rainbow Six Siege and
I liked Rainbow Six Siege when it first came out.
But yeah, it's just one of those that just massively bloomed, and it's like, I mean, good for Rare. I like the water; it looks nice, and the music is
very good,
fantastic. All Rare music.
Two things: water and music.
So it's interesting because like in that category we have Nomansky.
Of Time or Wind Waker or whatever.
But because of the hype of Nomansky, it was like just attacked. But it's done the same thing where it's now a way weirder and more different and diverse game because it just kept going. But also there's a time looping FPS. The latest update puts time looping.
So it's the Out of Wilds now?
Yeah, or Deathloop, I don't know. It's just like, guys, it's not 2021. Time loops are old and shit now.
Yeah.
Wait,
keep
is
up.
this
This is No Man's
No
Sky.
Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky has a time loop update now, and
Wasn't the whole point of No Man's Sky that you worked through the galaxy to the center and it just sent you back out in
no, but they've had to they've had
end?
to figure out how to like add more. So they've been adding more content.
Everything.
And
There was a point where it was like because the way that game came out was very bad, and it was like very dubious how they sold that game. Maybe more so on Sony, the publisher, than them themselves, but they were out there talking it up, and it came out a bit of a mess. And then for several years, even when they patched it, they were like, I think they had like a little bit of hubris, like we're in the clear now. It doesn't matter that we lied to you. No. And I was like, you don't get that. Nah. You don't get that just now. But now, several years into the future, I think they've earned it. Fair enough to them.
And the last campfire was really good as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a good game.
So the Leviathan update, which runs for the current 6 weeks, will challenge the player in a roguelike expedition in search of lost memory fragments. Each time you discover a fragment, a time loop will begin. I'm not going to read any more. I just wanted you to know that I'm not making shit up.
In my brain.
What was the
procedurally generated time loops?
What was the space game?
Outer Wilds.
No. The one where you're walking around a space station and you're having to work out what has happened, and it's not time loops as such.
Tacoma?
Tacoma.
Yeah,
yes. Tacoma. So basically, they put Tacoma in No Man's Sky. So
I will say the Leviathan.
I laugh if you went through a time loop and it goes back to the like 1.0 of that game.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
their memory fragments are just different, like previous updates. So look, we couldn't figure out a new update, so we just gave you the old updates all as one update.
At that point, I'd be like, "Yep, Sean Murray is a genius."
Yeah. Remember when you hated this? Oh yeah, you still hate this.
And we charge you £30 to upgrade to this patch.
Yeah.
To just replay all of the previous stuff.
I mean, but all the updates have been free in that game.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
I mean, they sold enough of them, but yeah, even still, it's still a lot to put in the game for free. Good for them.
Nice.
I still have no urge to ever play that game again.
Neither do I. Ever. I'd just go and play Skyrim.
Same as exactly.
You mean Skyrim in space, the newest?
People don't need to play Starfield. Just go and play Skyrim and then just play No Man's Sky. Like 30 minutes of this one, 30 minutes of this one, 30 minutes.
No, Ben, you don't understand. Because we're entering the era of the metaverse, we'll have goggles with two screens. You just put Skyrim on one screen and No Man's Sky on the other screen, and your brain will superimpose them, and you'll just make Starfield.
Yeah.
The metaverse can do everything.
Skyrim is on like Xbox Game Pass on cloud because I don't actually own Skyrim on PC. So
oh really? So I bought it on PC, and so I got all the fancy versions for free because they were very nice when they're like remaster and then rejiggered remaster or whatever they called it. They gave me. I've got 3 versions of it, I think.
Yeah, but I think the one on Xbox is probably the remastered one. Obviously, not as good as on PC with.
Well, but so the key to getting it on PC isn't their remaster, is getting the gorgeous fucking mods. I remember I spent most of my time with that game making it look very pretty, and then making dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine, and then a couple other weird things, and then being like, "Oh, I don't think I like this game that much," and then stopping playing.
I think I was the same with Fallout 4. Like, this is fine. And I very much enjoy Macho Man Randy Savage Deathclaws. But
it's the problem when you start a game that is very moddable and has a huge community, and you start it like after the community has had like 6 months to a year to mod it, because then you view it very differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I didn't go down those. I didn't take the crack cocaine, and I just played vanilla Xbox 360 Skyrim.
Yeah.
As God intended.
Yeah.
But, I was thinking maybe I should go back to Elden Ring and finish that before I go.
I've been thinking about that, and then I think I realized I've been avoiding it because
it's just too big. It's like when I start a new Hitman map, and I'm like all the possibilities, and I get very afraid.
I mean, that's why.
Overwhelmed.
I mean, that's why I never started The Witcher 3, which I know you both hate me for, but like.
No, I don't hate you. I think that's right.
I don't hate you in any way.
I don't think
it's just Lauren.
You should play The Witcher 3.
No,
that's
play a proper RPG like Elden Ring.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Witcher 3, just watch all the cutscenes on YouTube. It's a fantastic story.
why don't I just read the
Everything
book
else is
then? Why don't I read
garbage.
the books?
Oh, mate, it's so
I don't know.
good.
I got up to the point where you meet Dingleberry. What's his name? What's the name of the Huckleberry, or what's his name?
Tom Sawyer?
Dandelion?
Yeah.
Is it
Dandelion,
Dandelion?
yeah.
Yeah. I got
Dandelion.
to the point where I met, and it like built up. It's like, oh, who's Dandelion? And then I met him, and I was like, he's just some geezer. I'm gonna stop playing now.
And all the dwarves and all your mates in the
Yeah,
fucking
we still
tavern,
haven't
yeah.
found this girl,
Um,
and I've been playing this for 600 hours.
Exactly, yeah. Siri, but once you do
Siri.
find Siri, it's fine because there's another 600 hours to play after that. So don't worry, Lucy.
see,
You can
my
just-
It's so shame because the writing and the story in that game is like top tier. It's just everything else around it.
Hmm.
The actual playing of the game, like the look of it and everything, it's all sublime.
Mm.
The playing of that game is mind-numbing.
See, for
It's
me,
like the inverse
love
of Neon White, where the story's
fucking
absolute
love that game.
garbage, and then the gameplay's good.
I,
Gameplay garbage in The Witcher. Sorry, it's not a good RPG.
my problem with Elden Ring is
No.
knowing how many hours I put into it, knowing that I still have only killed one of the big bosses. But like the problem is, I really did hyper focus on it and didn't get that far and was okay with it. But now know enough about the game to know like how many hours are ahead, and I'm worried about, well, if I want to finish it, I would need to kind of be bad at life for a long chunk of time, because I'm not playing it to finish it and loop and rediscover things on New Game Plus. Like, that doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in figuring out how, or like coming back to a boss and beating them with moves I've unlocked later or whatever, and like the new, like, I'm now more powerful and I can beat you better even though you have more health. Like, that doesn't interest me. I don't want to rediscover things. I want to, like... But I'm also completionist asshole, like, tendencies. So it's like, I want to do the world right once.
There's no way, because...
Exactly, which is why I stopped playing it, because it was too much of a paralysis.
When I stopped playing it, just this whole sub-world, and it's like... And then I ended up somewhere where I didn't even know where I was, and died there or something. And it's like, just getting back to that other place is enough, because that was huge. And now I'm in this other place where I went without my will because I got swooped up by something.
Oh, I mean, that happened to me in my first hour. I got teleported by a trapped treasure chest to...
Yeah, and it's like... Yeah, it's just too big.
I mean, I really like it. It's in contention for my game of the year. I just need
it's still my game of the year.
Yeah, I just need to figure
even
out...
after Neon White and Sitting in the Sleep, it's still my game of the year.
I still
like,
need...
Unlike,
yeah. I think...
When you think of, like, when you were 5 years old and what games can be, it's like, this is it.
But yeah, so that's going to be a game I try and figure out how to restart in a healthy way.
You're going to be in a perpetual loop of restarting that game too.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, it's one of the best games I've ever played, so I'm okay with it taking me a couple years to finish, right? Like,
it can take me a decade to finish it. I'm fine, because it's fantastic. It's nuts.
But I think that probably is bringing us to the end of the episode. So,
what was our topic, guys?
Our topic was what Ben played, and also fuck Ubisoft, and also
always fuck Ubisoft. Absolutely, fuck Hughes Gilmore. He shouldn't be in charge of that fucking company. What a twat!
Just burn it to the ground.
Yeah,
all of it. But making a rain on a Splinter Cell before you do. And then burn it to the ground. No, actually, just sell the IP.
Yeah, dude, pull a Squeenix.
So for years, it's a really weird one as well, isn't it? Because for years, Ubisoft and everyone rallied against, was it Vivendi? Wanting to buy, major shares in them and taking them over and all these kinds of stuff. And now Ubisoft are like, we might just sell the company.
Because their shit's caught up to them, right?
Yes, absolutely. They're at that point where they've hit that Acti Blizzard, or just not even Acti Blizzard, but just the Activision side of things, where they're like, Yeah, people are really fucking angry at us. How do we solve this?
And I just think
Get
that
rid
Just
of
leave.
it.
Just leave.
they
Sell
just
it to
haven't been
someone
doing it on
else.
the games front, because I always respected them for always making new IP and a lot of their games hitting, but they've just been too cynical in like their game design in the last
Oh
decade, and
God, yes.
it's just not hitting.
Yeah.
It's that they need a shaker.
Yeah.
Any other company, they would have gotten rid of Eves and they'd be like,
Oh,
why?
absolutely. But he's got so much power. Like his brother has
The
Mhm.
problem
X
is,
amount
it's
of
at the
shares
end of the
into
day,
it. Like
it's
it's a
the
family
family.
business.
Yeah.
Family, not good family like Fast
Speaking
and Furious.
of families, he segues in a way that isn't
Oh.
possible. Ben, I understand that your family likes visiting lake houses. Speaking of lake houses, how was the Polly's Lake House beer? You see?
Dom Toretto's Lakehouse. Yes, it's great. It's a really good
Oh,
beer.
I thought you were gonna be
I
like, oh,
really
it's
enjoyed it.
like Corona.
Yeah. No, I really like this. I would have cracked another one straight away.
Yeah.
It was very easy. Doesn't feel like a mid kind of 6 point something, 6.1 percent IPA. Feels a lot easier than that, but still having a really kind of medium mouthfeel. There's oats in there. There's a little bit kind of going on, and that flow of flavor which stuck around as well. That nice kind of mango, maybe a touch of something sweeter as well, maybe a little bit of pineapple or something in there, which then hit those floral notes into that piney bitterness. That flow was really, really nice, and it hit every single time. It wasn't then just like, oh no, that bitterness is here. That's all you're gonna get
Right.
now. You got that nice flow of flavors every time you took a sip. So yeah, really well made, as Polly's usually are.
How about you, Lucy? How was yours?
Yeah, as you theorized correctly, I did warm up to it quite a lot
Oh, good.
actually. The sweetness wasn't as abrasive as I got into it a bit more. It's actually really nice. It's got that smoothness and that nice body to it with the oats and the lactose. I can definitely feel the sugar like sticking to my teeth, but it's like it wasn't too overwhelming, and got used to it in the end. And I think the fruit started shining through even more at that point. The combination of the lime and the mango was really nice, really refreshing. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I actually grew to like it a lot more than I thought. So yeah, it's good.
Excellent.
Mhm.
On my side, I would thoroughly recommend the Cherry Coconut Imperial Stout by Totenhopfen and Garden Brewery. Again, I'm just going to reiterate what I said at the top of the episode, which was that it's kind of not that cherry and coconut, and it's not that imperial stouty, and that's but both in a very good way. It's very easy to drink. You don't notice that 7%, but it does have enough of mouthfeel and thickness that it feels like a stout, but you're not getting any sort of really strong taste, no burnt acrid aftertaste. It's a very light in that way stout, but it still has full volume. It just sort of doesn't have your standard stout characteristics, and that cherry is very reserved, and that coconut is mostly on the nose, and so those together just kind of bring those lighter stout characteristics out and round it out, and it's just a very lovely stout. It's not too light, but again, someone who is newer to dark beers would be perfect for you, and someone who really enjoys a stout wouldn't be like, this is a little weak. Like it's just that it hits that that sweet spot, or rather that not so sweet spot. Yeah, really good beer. And
Nice.
also I have to say I've now had 4 of these Garden Brewery Restore Our Earth collabs, and they've all been good. And they've all actually had the same sort of quality of kind of more delicate than I was expecting, and really good examples of that type of beer in a way that, like, if you were newer to that type of beer, it wouldn't be too much. None of them have been sort of very extreme, which I think is really smart, because then if you could sort of be like, oh, it's a good cause and it's breweries collabing from around the world. But you know, I'm not really like into this type of beer. But anything in this collab range seems to be like, you'll be okay, even if this isn't your standard type of beer, which I think is a really great thing that they're not advertising. That's just a thing they've done together.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So Ben, if people wanted to harass you about Planet Zoo, how would they do that?
At Nova_47.
And Lucy, where would people get a hold of you?
I am on Juicy Loose 9. Everywhere.
Yep, and I'm at the Omniarch, and we're all at Tanked Up Cast. Or if you want to email us, you know, because you're 84, we're at tankedupcast@gmail.com. You can also check out what we do that isn't tanked up, but what our colleagues and us do at outoflives.net or outoflives.net. Work on Twitch or YouTube. We do My First Look VODs. We do articles, all kinds of other things, and pop cultural ephemera in those places. If you are on Twitch, thanks for tuning in. Follow, subscribe, etc. If you're on YouTube, please ding dong, ring the bell, like, comment, subscribe. The comment's really important. Did you like the episode? Do you have any thoughts about what we talked about? What's your least favorite emoji? Tell us on the comments below. Any comment helps the algorithms. I look at the stats. I know people watch. Just do a thing. Come on, help us out.
Are
it
we
gets us.
doing Geek Out Weekly on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah.
wanna watch.
You know, I mean, I'd do a Geek Out Weekly episode on TMNT Nickelodeon era. I've never watched a single Nickelodeon episode. Yeah, so those are the things. That's
Shall
us.
we just do that? Shall we just watch old TMNT?
We should
We should,
all the old
actually.
TMNT, yeah, and the movies, and then just, yeah.
All right. Oh, and yeah, and those will be Patreon exclusive episodes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd do that. No one has to pay
Yeah,
me
so
to do
we
that.
are gonna by the time this episode comes out, because this is the Monday episode, we will have a Patreon up. So patreon.com/outoflivesnet, I think. Ooh, I might overdub this later. But yeah, we obviously have been doing this for a long time, without hassling you guys too much. But we all have lives. Ben's, got another kid on the way.
Speak for yourself. I don't have a life.
But we've also been asked, is there a way to support other than the one review that person gave on iTunes, and then there's literally nothing they could do? Well, now we're coming out with one. Anyway, we'll talk more about that probably next week. But for this week, we've been tanked up.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Pay us money.
Give us money for beer, motherfuckers.
Oh my god.
www.outoflives.net